welcome to this workshop. This workshop is designed to help teachers prepare for unplanned e-learning days. Unplanned e-learning days can happen when there is inclement weather or an unexpected event such as flooding or a power outage, forcing schools to close for the day. On such days, teachers will need to be able to adjust their lessons so students can continue their learning from home. The challenge is that these lessons, which will continue the scope and sequence of a teacher's lesson plans, may need to be adjusted with only an hour's notice after an e-learning day is announced by the school. This workshop will help you evaluate example e-learning lessons and practice adjusting your own lesson plans for an unplanned e-learning day. Before we take a look at some example e-learning lessons, let's go over the Indiana Department of Education's e-learning expectations. The first requirement is internet access. Schools must prove that students and teachers have access to the internet away from school. The next requirement is instructor access. Students and parents must be able to reach teachers during e-learning hours. If the school uses a learning management system like Canvas, using the LMS inbox will be an appropriate communication tool. It is also required that students and teachers have experience using an online platform and digital resources. Blending digital learning into the learning experience throughout the school year makes an unplanned e-learning day a normal extension of school operations instead of a disruption. Learning targets. The lessons, activities, and assessments should be available by 9 a.m. The challenge again for teachers is that school may be canceled after a 2-hour delay is announced. It's important that teachers are able to adapt their lessons for an unplanned e-learning day with such short notice. Next is work continuity, which is the focus of this workshop. The expectation here is that students will engage in content that would have been taught if school were in session. The day is an instructional day, not a homework day. E-learning days allow for the teacher's scope and sequence to stay on track. Students should be provided with instruction. For example, a teacher could post her own instructional video, a Khan Academy video, or a YouTube instructional video. This should be followed with an activity and then an assessment for measuring student performance. Just like a typical school day, all work does not need to be done online. E-learning days should demonstrate a blended model, utilizing digital resources that teachers and students are comfortable using. Accommodation support. Student IEPs should include e-learning provisions. The teacher of record should work with families ahead of time to clarify e-learning expectations. Offline support. For students who do not participate in digital learning, appropriate learning materials should be provided. Individual needs. For students with limited English proficiency, appropriate learning materials should also be provided. Finally, for work measurement, students will need to demonstrate time on task and/or learning growth. The expectation is that grades will not be taken for elementary school students, but grades will be taken for middle and high school students. The Indiana Department of Education's website is a great resource to learn more about e-learning. A recent webinar posted on this website features a discussion about e-learning criteria and some helpful suggestions. Since we are focused on work continuity, that portion of the webinar is next. Watch this excerpt on the next slide to complete this portion of the workshop.